Shalom, heroes, chiefers. Let's cruise with Jesus and let's talk about a few things. We're going to talk about titles and labels and our puffed up pride and how that all commingles and what we can do to break down these barriers of racism and just all the chaos that's going on that we see around us today. So when we flip the camera around, I'm going to hold it because a magnet that I use to hold my camera is getting weak and it's keep dropping the phone, so we want to do it this way. I pray as we cruise for Jesus that this message will bless you, encourage you, and even frustrate you. Go check out what I say. Don't just take my own. Don't take my word for it. Go do your own due diligence. Practice self-autonomy and diligently seek Yahweh. If we would spend more time diligently seeking Yahweh rather than seeking titles and labels and whatnot for ourselves and for others, we'd be a whole lot better off in this culture. As I've said it, if I've said it once, I've said it over and over and over again. I do not label myself a Christian. Um, I do not label myself any denomination. I'm simply a disciple of the Most High Yeshua. I'm a disciple of Christ. Um, I believe that should be sufficient. If we think about it, look at it in that way, think about all the ways that the world uses titles and labels to divide us. Okay? Um, and I actually wrote up a post yesterday on Facebook. It's quite lengthy, so I doubt many will read it, but sometimes I like to just write because it allows me to think a little slower and get my point across. It just takes a while to do so. Anyway, in that post I said, go look in the mirror. Take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie. Um, don't deceive yourself. Take a long, hard look in the mirror and see what you see. Um, that face peering back at you, is it black, white, brown, red, Asian, or other? Do you see a Christian, an Israelite, Buddhist, monk, other? What do you see? Do you see someone who is agnostic or atheist? Uh, Someone who's successful, working on being successful, and failure? What do you see? Do you see yourself as a Republican, a Democrat, independent, don't give a damn, or other? What do you see? See, as you begin to think about all this, we begin titling ourselves and labeling ourselves, under all these categories and subcategories, to the point where every time you label yourself or title yourself, you cut yourself off from someone else. You divide yourself. You divide you and those who follow the same sentiments and views as you. You divide yourself. I'm a black Christian, or I'm a white Christian, an Asian Christian. I'm a Baptist. I'm a Methodist, Lutheran, Catholic. You divide yourself. Look at the division we see. We're not only divided racially, which is actually a wrong definition in term, because there is not but one race, and that is the human race. Come the day of judgment, Yahweh is going to separate the sheep and the goats. That's it. That's the only two categories that Yahweh puts us in. You're either saved You're a sheep and you're saved, redeemed unto salvation through the works of what Yeshua did on that cross, Jesus did on that cross, or you're a goat who has rejected and rebelled against the word of Yahweh. That's it. And so, I mean, there is so many different titles I could attach to myself. I am a white follower of Messiah. Uh, I'm a pastor. I'm a pumper. Um, I mean, come on. How many labels and titles do you put on yourself that causes division and strife amongst those who you interact with on a daily basis? You know, and I know that whenever I talk to um, fellow brothers and sisters who wish to claim that they're Baptist or whatever denomination of religion they want to associate with, that when I say I'm just a disciple of Messiah, that causes a type of division. I get that. I'm a disciple first. I'm a husband, then I'm a father, a friend and a brother, and then an employee of an oil field company. If I'll let that be the final say of my titles and labels, I'll find myself a lot less divided. Uh, whether you're black, brown, red, white, or other, as far as skin color, you're still but one race. You know, we have been trained up in this culture. And if you look at the word culture, it's C-U-L-T, cult, and then you are. You are a cult. You look at words and their roots, and we can realize and see a whole lot of different issues and aspects when we just simply break down the word and look at it. Racism, you know, uh, why have we been divided by race, by skin color? Which really isn't divided by race because, like I said before, there is but one race, and that's the human race. Um, and even that in of itself is not totally 100% correct. Uh, Especially if you go back and look at the parable of the sower, that the wheat and the tares. And so, really, I mean, if we just really start digging into this and start ending these fallacies that we're trained up from a child to be taught, like I spoke on in the message the other day in front of the assembly, that if you take two children, one having skin color that is black, one having skin color that is, quote, so-called white, um, they will not have issue with one another on that basis alone. But as they grow up and as society and culture, dictates to each individual, uh, they begin to gain stereotypes and attitude towards one another, just simply by being trained, by being psychologically abused, and that's what that is. When you teach your children to hate someone or to distance yourself from someone based on skin color alone, we could just as easily today be divided by height or eye color, um, simple genetics, just different genetics from one another, and none of us have any say in how that plays out. I didn't have any choice in being a Caucasian white guy, uh, none whatsoever. I had no choice in the say of how tall I am, what my eye color is. All right, so it's all genetics that we can't control, and so therefore the enemy has sown that seed of division that we just swallow, we hang on to. Uh, why is that? Because we do not know the truth. John 8:32, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Why don't we diligently seek Yahweh rather than diligently seeking titles to puff us up and give us pride? You know, oh, you got white privilege. Okay, show me my white privilege. I'm a blue collar worker. Up until about 7 years ago, I worked in the hot sun, physically laboring all the days of my life to provide and put food on the table. I got no special treatment. I saw no special treatment, nor did I condemn anybody else for the color of their skin. Because the culture, the society that I grew up in, I mean, I didn't even see a person of black skin color probably until I was probably about 16, 17 years old. Um, when I went up to Washington State to work with my aunt and uncle in their business, their landscape business up there. Um, so it wasn't an issue here. I don't know. It's just it amazes me at what we latch onto and make precedents in our life. You feel me? Imagine if we took that same vigor, that uh, same authority to seek out Yahweh's truth and to pattern our life after, rather than the stereotypes, titles, labels, and our own pride that we actually do here today. Imagine if we just dropped all that. Uh, we'd be in a whole lot better place, I can tell you that. But we refuse to do so. We do not want to do that. Anyway, so as you look in the mirror, think about all the divisions that you, or all the titles and labels that you have attached to yourself, just you alone, and see where you can start breaking them titles down and them labels down um, into one small title or label, follower of Yeshua, father, husband, and employee, and call it a day. And don't be concerned with whether you're the CEO of the company or the janitor. See how much time you spend looking on the internet for the bad news of the day versus how much time you spend in Yah's Word, reading His Word, His truths that will not ever fail you or lie to you. Do a flip flop on that and watch how your life will transform. See how your life transforms. Anyway, that's the thought for the day. That's the word of the day. Y'all be blessed, be encouraged, and always be frustrated. This is Oilfield Disciple. Catch you on the next ride.